Pack it up, pack it in, let us begin. Okay, so I'm not going to activate the video today as my second monitor is being used as a Netflix device downstairs so that my wife can just chill for a second. We've had a very long weekend. No, a very good weekend. However, last night, little boy Tsuhudi got his back molars coming through, so he's been like a fireball. Thus, I'm absolutely exhausted, so if I pass out headfirst onto the desk, that's the exact reason why. Alright, so the 2048 is bringing explanation as to why the liquidity is low on Bitcoin right now. It's looking to me as if we have a switch over here on the oscillator. Then we had arc 5, 1/2 on the GAN. Let's have a quick confirmation checklist. Pardon me. Pardon-moi. Okay, so trend direction 3 below 1, 2 below 10. So this 4 is below 2. So it's done. There's nothing for it to still complete. Turning point spacing. We still are in a good place for 4 to form. What's interesting about this turning point placement is that it can go to a decent up run, pardon me, to a higher high or something to this effect. And the reason I say this is because the position of it is pretty neutral. So it hasn't gone too far into it, too far forward, and it didn't form too far back. Okay, so if it formed too far back, there would have been a higher low, and then that transition would be the building point for the next transition up, creating the higher high. So over here is pretty neutral. It could go either way. Before we get into that, let's get into the confirmation of this. Okay, scaling looks pretty neat. Kill zone, neat. Time, alright. So we have a bit of leniency that we allow on the higher frames because of the thickness of the candles, or another way of saying that is that the amount of time to move one candle across is a lot bigger, which means that the precision doesn't always land up pinpoint as it might on the 32 or another time frame, right? The 128 is pretty accurate, but the 2048 we got some leniency over here. So actually I also want to see something real quick. Okay, so around about 10. Okay, so what happened here is that because it's on a higher frame, it actually landed up in the middle, I would say, between option 1 and option 2 of the cube root, which works for me. I don't really see this working out from a time perspective, landing on the 225%. Not too far off. So maybe like an average between the midpoint between cube roots and a time projection. Again, on the higher frames, we allow for some, I wouldn't say slippage, but for some additional leniency, just because of the amount of time it takes to move one candle. So both are good there. Oscillator switch up. Price came down to 1. If you include the wick over there, I'd say almost the 1.25, but definitely the 1. You can see how much you got built over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 strong bodied candles at 1. Alright, so fan line, 1/2, arc 5. Awesome stuff, guys. I don't want to hop on it, but this is a big mystery to 99% of the world out there. And as you can tell, almost in geometric perfection. This is like a children's storybook to us for all of the mentioned reasons above. Okay, it wasn't one. It wasn't just about the oscillator. It's about all turn influences and then everything else that we've been talking about. Okay, so that's how you confirm a turning point and how you live your best life, basically. Okay, so where do we go to from here? from the top. The first thing I look into is the cycle. Alright, that's what we're dealing with, the start and the end. As you saw in the video tutorials, if you go towards the bottom bit over here, setting up multiple cycles on the higher frame is quite a difficult thing to do. So it is with a lot of back and forth as to where the sacred starting point for this higher cycle would be, and we took our best guess and put it over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now trying to build to 5. So even though the higher frames, there's no real way, unless you just stick with it for years, there's no real, and apply numerology and the characteristics of turning points, there's no real way to ascertain which cycle is correct. Quite proudly, I think we've got this one down. And that's having this one down means that we've set up all the ones below this correctly, and that's super powerful. So just this one reason alone is magnifico. Alright, so middle is over there. 5 normally kind of forms to that avail. I want to just roughly put my marker over there. Was it meant to be a turning point? Just for that one reason alone. And let's get into our forecast. Okay, so trend direction we've spoken about. 4 below 2. I'm not sure if you're going to get price going much further than this. So 26,000, I would say, until further notice, is the low of the year. Okay, and once again, if you are a longer term student, go to ganzilla.russia. Download it if you have a Windows machine. If you don't have the Windows machine, download Parallels for Mac, and you'll be able to install that onto your Windows machine. I think it's about $100 per year for like a basic license. I can't remember the price. I've stopped using it because I don't really pop onto Ganzilla that often, as I have a lot more, like we've got enough here. So once again, I believe in the law of diminishing returns. So by having more to consider, it opens up the door for confusion, especially for guys who are just getting into the swing of things. And then that bit of doubt, or that open door, or that reduced certainty could be quite influential towards your decision making. So only really look into it if it makes sense to where you are in your journey right now. And if that's the case, and the reason I've brought that all up is this price over here, this 269, very nice number, 26900 will be the middle point for your numerology Gann square of 9. And then the just ordinal and cardinal crosses will build from there, and they'll become your support and resistance. That's if you want to use numerology. Okay, turning point spacing, as I said, 5 typically, if this is a 5, would happen towards the middle. So I'm going to leave that marker there for now. Scaling, it looks good. So once again, if you go into the video tutorials, there is a video on scaling. You'll see, the kill zone, the story thereof, and you can see that this is shaped the kill zone pretty neatly. Okay, so I'm happy with this scaling. If you guys have been doing MTOPS for a while and you've got the system we've designed for you, go to the extended. If you're ready for it, of course, all of the terms and conditions always. Hit extended, and you're going to start seeing that there will be a confluence in the areas prior to where the price is right now. Okay, so we have, maybe I'll just go to that annotation. Build over there and there. Okay, I left there a bit, which is maybe suggesting that we could go up one scale further, but I'm not until later on. It's okay to change scaling. We're not going to set our targets on this 2048. Well, most of us won't. So I can change the scaling later on without a problem. Okay, so there's that bundle section over there. It stops over there. It's kind of paused over there. And then now it's at the nodal point and building energetically to the new direction. I hope you're impressed. So scaling gets a tick, kill zone gets a tick, time. Alright, so let's have a look at our various time confirmations. First things first, we look at our 100. First things first, we look at our point range identifier. Okay, so this is the range that we're dealing with. Let's go to focus mode. So anything behind where price has already happened, it's not going to be a consideration. Anything after where this line is, it's not going to be a consideration. Okay, so even if we increase the scaling, which seems a bit dramatic for the kills in that we've got already, then that will be our range of consideration. So anything past there, not going to happen, and same thing on the other side. Once again, I'm going to dial it back, keep it over here. This just kind of confirms that this could be the right scaling. And of course, the midline happens over there, assuming that we're moving from 4 to 5. Alright, time. Okay, so with that said, here's where the 100 will be. Okay, so everything that falls onto the 100% line will include that, and that. By process of elimination, I'm just speaking to the guys who are still starting out, or maybe you've got the swing of things and you're moving into a higher skill set environment. Oh man, I was meant to I just realized I should have streamed this directly to YouTube, so you could have had the recording instantly, but oh well, I'm too tired to string the words together, so that's like a luxury thought. Okay, so that's your range of possibility on your 100%. As we made mention to, there is a further point that we would like to look at because of the midway point, and 5 is the harmonic balancer from a numerology perspective. So we normally see it in the middle of a cycle. Okay, so what that means is that we have to therefore consider the next time component, which would be 150%. That's a little bit too deep in unless we're going to start seeing it happen at a turnover there at arc 5. Now, before continuing, let me just zoom in. What I've done here is I've gone to 100%, and then I've used my marker to ascertain different probabilities. Okay, so it's like we're working with a probability knockout to see what is likely and what's unlikely. I just keep on using the same example because it's pretty easy to reference. But a pro footballer who is running towards a goal is deleting the people in the stands. He's deleting the line runners, all the areas as to where not to strike the ball, so that he has finesse accuracy as to where to strike the ball. So to that avail, where we are looking to see where price is not going to go, to see where it's most likely going to go. This bottom consideration here, we're talking about time, moving down the 100%. Price is just simply not going to crawl along to there and drop down. It's already quite low for recent day Bitcoin pricing. Bearing in mind that I started Bitcoin when it was like $2,100, so this is like 10x then. But relative to these days, it's not going to go there. Okay, so we delete that. This would be a consideration if we had a strong indication that we're going to continue to the downside. I don't feel that right now, so I'm going to take that off because it's not necessarily the optimal position, considering 5 likes to form in the middle, which is over there. So I'm going to take that off. I want to leave this here for now. Reason being is that looks like price is starting to consider the 1/2. If it doesn't, and instead decides the 1/1, then we start to further take our process of elimination of probability down to something more specific. In case anyone's watching from Australia, howdy mate. Congratulations for staying up this late. That's dedication to your financial future right there. Alright, so cube root. Well, the cube root being where it is, and it being 125%, is 150%, so 50% between those two areas is 125%. Once again, it's a higher frame, so we look at the 25% percentiles just because of the nature of the chart you're dealing with. If you're using a lower time frame, like the 2 minutes or 8 minutes, it's unlikely that you're going to see many turns on the 25% because it's a lot quicker and a lot smaller. Once again, so for 240 minutes per bar, we have those considerations at hand. We also have cube root on option 3, so 43 bars across. If you're not understanding what the cube root is just yet, all you need to realize or think about is having 3, or rather the options, line up as close as possible to the time configurations. Okay, so I would say just strictly with the cube root and time projection, I would say option 3 and 100% there is kind of somewhere I would start to consider being the point of turn, which actually makes me think we can perhaps move this further up if that's the case. Think of it as a pull between 2 points. So if we have a dedicated travel along this 1/2, then this pull and that pull, so option 3 on the cube root and 100% on the time forecast, will average out over there. What you're bringing will bring it up to the 1/2 arc 5. So we'll just see how the economy is worldwide. There's something I want to talk to, but I'm not sure if now is the right time for it. My wife came through this morning and started saying that on her feed there's this new pandemic, which is going to be like monkeypox or something. And of course it's somewhere out of Africa, because people are so naive about Africa that it's easy to blame anything on Africa. So there's no native tribe in Africa is going to be like, this is fake news, you guys are lying, here's the evidence that this is a lie. Like, they're just going to live off the land and live their best lives without the pollution of capitalism amongst their tribes. So they just shrug their shoulders, and then their secret interests get their way, and no one really questions it, that they conform to trusting the government and whatever else is going on behind the scenes. So with that said, when there are lockdowns and so on, there's a lot more focus on people making money from the markets, which means a lot more players on the multiplayer map. So if there is a lockdown setup, and guys aren't at their 9 to 5 and out there and doing their nominated career, which they probably worked really hard towards and spent tons of money to get into and had to climb the ladder and get degrees and that kind of stuff. If they forced to stay at home in their pajamas, then you're going to start seeing a lot more liquidity in the market, in particular Bitcoin, because it's so accessible to everyone. And they could have a push along this 1/2 as the point behind that story. Alright, so this is how we start to eliminate certain circumstances, right? So to be clear, should there be another lockdown and more liquidity in the market, we'll start looking at that as our area. Okay, oscillator switch up, price projection, we've got 1, being this 1/2 option over here. Okay, so there's your 1 or your 0.75. Both options are pretty feasible. Again, we're going to have to see what's happening over the next week to ascertain which general idea the market wants to travel. That's too soon to tell right now. Fan line, those are the options, arc curve, arc 4 or arc 5. Will we see a higher high? I doubt it. But I think it will build. If it goes up the 1/1, then we're going to get a lower low, because the angle in which this transition will push the, how else to describe it? Okay, it's a bit messy. If it makes sense to you, it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, don't let it freak you out. Oh yes. Emil, is Emil online? Yeah. Can we please get the grid back for the gang grid? So let me just continue that point. So if we have a move to that direction, and let's say for example it regresses along the 1/1, then we're going to have a lower low. Okay, I don't think it's going to go down that far. So we'll have 6 form over there. Okay, so if we see a climb along the 1/1, we're going to have another dramatic drop in the markets, which maybe works in line with the global agenda and recession and scarcity and people taking away. Oh crap! I was getting my stuff back from Panama. I got so much equipment in a container out there, and we're just waiting for the shipment prices to make sense again. Because right now, like, the delusion scarcity has driven it through the roof. But I think if another lockdown happens, we better just take it on the chin. Okay, so this goes down, and I'll get into the lower environments over here, which doesn't really work for many traders, especially those who've been holding at 65,000, waiting for a better day for everything to turn around again. Okay, so if that happens, then we're going to get quite a somber feeling in the market. But if it comes up this 1/2, then let's just guesstimate that it comes down this midline. It will then form, where's 6? Oh, about there. I will then form a way, or an area. No, wait. It will then form the transition for the next move up. Okay, this is working well. Alright, so that's what I'm trying to say. So, and the route it takes now will depict the overall market in about 2 months from now, for those reasons. Let's see what the 512 has to say to agree or disagree. Okay, so it looks like we could scale up, go to large. This is happening because, of course, the price is in the 2048. This is really interesting. Oops. I'll get back to this. I want to see what the rest of the market say. I just want to feed the TCI. It looks like everything is pushing up at the moment. Why I say it's interesting is because what could happen here is the latter environment where it comes in early, because we're at the midway points over there. Once again, here's your cycle. So halfway is in this section. So 5 typically likes to form there. If we have a switch down, then the 2048 is going to see a move to the lower fan lines, which means it's more of a, not to sound negative, but more of a doomsday environment, which I think lends towards the globalist agenda. So we'll have to see whether or not that is the case, or if we're going to have the new liquidity push things upwards. Just to be clear, my opinion / idea on this monkeypox, if it's even a thing, is pure speculation. There's no real solid grounding behind there. So before should you consider passing on that logic to anyone, it's 100% speculation, as is anything that is not related to MTOPS technical analysis, quite frankly. So yeah, that's it's my idea. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Okay, so again we wait. 9. Oh crap, we are going down. That's higher over there. Hold on. Yeah, I think I'm going to jump off of Bitcoin. It doesn't look very tradable right now. Let's head over to the Dow Jones. Oh my god. Sorry, not sorry. We did spend a half an hour on Bitcoin, but the principles of what we spoke applies to all markets. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a turn here on the Dow as well. Yeah. Okay, we're keeping an eye out for the same reasons we made mention to. T equals 100%, P equals 1, ARC 4. I mean, if it slides out a little bit more, that's just a dickish move. However, we do have some confluence there. Still in the kill zone, so not a tradable market right now. And again, that'll be quite a big move up because it's got to get towards the middle of this cycle over here for the same reason. So we're going to wait for it to latch onto a trouble route on the 2048 there. This one's tricky. I'm not sure. I don't feel good about this one. Let's call it 6 for now, but we'll have to revisit as we get more information. Still a little bit early in. I mean, it's got to move across to 7, which will be like out here somewhere. Hope you guys are following along. If you're not, please stop me and I'll be able to break it down. Okay. Also, not a... let's try large. Large is looking alright. I wouldn't go short just yet. Well, we got 3 up arrows on the higher frames, potentially. Waiting for confirmation. Let's see what the market wants. But I wouldn't go short just yet. We had an incredible short the last time we did this. On Friday, actually. Like an incredible short. Yeah. Because all the arrows are pointing down. I was just finishing off. And now it looks like we're turning. Oh, look at that. Option 1. Cube roots. Perfect. Okay. If you're going to go long, just remember that there's going to be kill zones that you are fighting against. So don't hold your breath for liquidity. It's going to get out of that zone first before it takes you to the promised land. Which means that if you're going to set your stop loss, I'd rather set it loose. And you can do that by going to a higher frame and seeing where you would put your stop loss there. If that's too much work for you, just click on the turning points and the actual software itself will tell you. It's a Monday, so I don't really lean into the lower frames too much, but let's quickly do the 2 minutes. Okay, so again, if you're confused as to why there is this ranging market, it's the kill zone influence on the higher frames that's doing this. That's fine. Okay, so the reason why I'm choosing the turning point to be here and not there is because this falls out of the point range identifier. Okay, so in kill zone, which is obviously an indicator that you're in a ranging market, so beware. The question is, are we dealing with an 8, 9? Yeah, it's okay not to put an order in today. Let's have a quick look at gold. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, messy. Yeah, 8's going up. Let's have a look at the 248. Okay, so it's still uptrend on the frames there. 6 to 7. Still cool. So up. I'd say gold would have been the winner of the lot on this day. Oh geez, how's it 9? Last minute. Oh, 1 candle out. Okay, cool. Looks like we got some down action on the gold. Again, we got to get it past there, so it might be quite a bit of down action. But I mean, the TTI is saying to rather hang back. Looks like 2 is in, forming 3 soon on the 8 minutes. We got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 and 9. So I don't know. My recommendation is keep your capital quite well protected. If you miss a move or something to that effect today, then you did so responsibly. It's our reality that we have literally thousands of opportunities to trade, and the more you have to trade with. So just be very aware that if you're looking to jump into the market for the wrong reasons, for example, you're bored or whatever the case may be, or you just feel like trading, or you just know you can do it, then remember that to get back to where you were after a loss, it takes more time, effort, energy, and money. So rather see it as a good trade by not trading. I think that's it for us today, guys. If you have any further questions, please reach out to me or any of the instructors. And if not the case, I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Oh, darn you, smiley character.